Greetings YouTube, this is Remarkable Republican here once again to bring you the truth with a truth-flavored bias. I decided to reinvestigate some old political stories in order to shed new and more true light upon them. Many things that were told by the fake news media are simply false. And one of the biggest false narratives of all time, which has largely gone unchallenged by both the left and the right, is the story about the Clinton sex scandals. Here's the actual truth about what happened with Bill Clinton and those women back in the 1990s. Let's first consider the traditional and totally fake history of Bill Clinton. It goes something like this. Back when Bill Clinton was governor of Kansas and later on when he became president, he spent a lot of his time having sex with random women who he worked with. Mostly these were interns like Monica Lewinsky, but some of them were also reporters like Jennifer Flowers. And the idea is that Bill Clinton was both extraordinarily interested in women and they were equally interested in him. There was an irresistible sex appeal going on. These women were just drawn to him like flies to shit. And no one could separate Bill Clinton and these women. He was like the second coming of JFK. No pun intended with the coming. Both sides had some objections to his conduct, but everyone publicly opposed what he did for different reasons. So on the right for Republicans, the idea is that Bill Clinton is a degenerate and that he shamed himself, shamed his marriage, made a fool of his wife, all of that. That all holds true, and if Bill Clinton's affairs were real, then that would still be 100% accurate. For people on the left, they argued that it wasn't a big deal because he was a good president otherwise, and they also argued sometimes that these affairs either weren't important or something else. But now let's reveal the actual truth and why this myth was promoted so long and so heavily. Why the fake news? Why have we been lied to about Bill Clinton's affairs with women? Why has the narrative been so fake for so long about Bill Clinton having sex with a bunch of women? Simple. The idea of Bill Clinton and his coalition of voters and supporters is that they wanted to pass a Marxist agenda, but they knew that the public as a whole would object to that. So one way to get the public focused on something else is to use sex. Sex sells. Also, there have been many rumors that Bill Clinton has had occasional homosexual outings with a few men here or there. Now, he seems to be more hetero than homo, but certainly he is in the bisexual range. He also has been promoting degenerate values. He is saying that it's okay to engage in adultery through his supposed actions. And one way to do that and to promote anti-Christian messaging on the sly is rather than just saying it to not practice Christian values. As for people on the right, they were looking for someone who was a boogeyman, someone who opposed their values, and someone who was the antithesis of everything they'd want out of a president. Bill Clinton was an absolute shame to the White House. He forever stained that institution, and I don't think that it will ever fully recover the dignity it once had after the horrors of Bill Clinton and people like Barack Obama. However, what conservatives didn't understand is that by doing this, they made themselves look obsessed with Bill Clinton's sex life. One of the most important things about the right talking about Bill Clinton's bimbos is that it told everyone that Bill Clinton was getting a lot of bimbos. Bill Clinton's goal was to get men to admire him and women to think of him as virile. He basically won both of his terms as president due to his reputation as a lady killer. People thought that if others were willing to have sex with Bill Clinton, that there must be something to him. And more than likely, all of these false rumors about the women he was with helped him in real life to actually get laid. So this was a two-part strategy on the part of Bill Clinton. It benefited him politically, and it also helped him in his personal life. Make no mistake about it, though, a lot of the famous affairs of Bill Clinton, the Jennifer Flowers thing, Monica Lewinsky, that stuff never happened. A lot of the reason why we know that Bill Clinton never had any of these affairs is very simple. For Bill Clinton to pick up the number of women he did, he would have to have something like charisma or sex appeal. And if you've ever watched Bubba talk, you know that Bubba has no sex appeal at all. The only reason some women think that he's attractive is because they are bandwagoning like Golden State Warriors fans onto someone who has become publicly declared sexy. No one in private who would meet Bill Clinton one-on-one would come away with the impression that he was fuckable. That is simply not something that a normal woman would think. However, if other women went on TV and talked about their sexcapades with Bill Clinton, all of a sudden that changes everything because women are competitive when it comes to winning the affection and attraction of men. So Bill Clinton's sex appeal, such as it is based on a myth. He basically lied his way to attractiveness. And aside from Hillary, who was never very hot and also very career-oriented, so probably not someone who's very interested in sex, Bill Clinton has probably rarely, if ever, had sex with other women outside of Hillary. Now, I'm sure that once in a while, due to his celebrity status post-presidency and his reputation as a ladies' man, there have been a few women who have wanted to join the ranks. So maybe a couple times after he has left the office, a few women have thrown themselves at him and he has been able to score. But for the most part, Bill Clinton is someone who is a total dork, saxophone playing dork, who never got laid in the past, never got laid as president, and never gets laid now either. Now that we know what Bill Clinton did and why, the question remains, how did he do it? What really happened? Here's how it went down. Bill and Hillary were in league on this. They always planned their political careers together. They found young interns with no real job prospects, people who majored in political science rather than a real subject like business, people like Jennifer Flowers and Monica Lewinsky, and they sat them down and agreed in exchange for money to have those women leak fake stories of affairs to friends who would then go to the press or coworkers. So especially if they could find a coworker who might have some secret Republican leanings, so then they would be inspired to engage in betrayal. So this was a plot to promote Bill Clinton's career in a very indirect and devious way. This is very much what the Clintons do. So these young women would then be paid off indirectly, so it couldn't be proven that they had the sit-down meeting with the Clintons. Clinton donors like Jeffrey Epstein, who was a very big one, and other people in the brain trust would then give out the payments, usually in cash, something that's hard to trace. And they would also meet in order to work out all the details, what supposedly happened. Then Bill and Monica or the other woman in question would memorize the details, make sure that their stories linked up in some way, that each have their own versions of denial that they'd work out too. So that way it would come across as each one of them being embarrassed by what had happened. Then what would happen is that they would have these women sign an NDA. As we know from a lot of different prominent people like Epstein and Michael Bloomberg, the NDA is something that people use to keep women silent when they have done something inappropriate. So they had these women sign NDAs. The problem is that a lot of the payments that these women got were not enough to make up for the fact that they were now unhireable. So no one wanted to have, say, Monica Lewinsky at their place of employment because she's only known for wearing a blue dress with a cum stain. So these women are now victims after the fact because they signed an NDA and they can't legally go to the press. Not only would the Clintons sue them, but anyone who knows anything about the Clintons knows that breaking an agreement with them is a surefire way to end up in an unmarked grave in Kansas. So what we need to do to expose this scandal and really let everyone know the truth about Bill Clinton's lack of virility is to have all the women who have these NDAs with the Clintons released from their obligation. Let them speak. Let the truth be known. Now, a lot of these women are no longer young and a lot of their lives have been wasted, but I think that they are owed the truth and they also are owed their reputations back. Clearly, they all have better taste than Bill Clinton. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had to be paid to pretend that they once had a hookup with him in the office. I'm Remarkable Republican, as always, bringing the truth with truth flavored bias, signing out.